This Sunday is a very special occasion for us here at St. John's. We will be welcoming the Right Reverend Brian Cole, our bishop, for his visitation. And we have quite a large group of folks that are being baptized, confirmed, and received into the church. So we have a lot of families that are involved and touched in a very personal way in this Sunday's liturgy. And we have really a wonderful liturgy in store to mark this momentous occasion for these families. Of course, as is the custom of the church, we follow the regular lectionary, so we don't really change what we are doing in the service, and that is kind of a symbol of how baptism and reaffirmation of faith and confirmation is all just part of a daily diet or a weekly diet or a lifelong diet of religious experience, of spiritual contact with the church and more intimately a spiritual contact with Jesus Christ. So we do have a lot of great music, and like I said, it falls within the context of sort of the kind of thematic readings that we've been having over the past several weeks. They do align, though, very closely, because in the epistle lesson from James, we'll be hearing about the importance of prayer and how prayer is such a foundation for our spirituality. It is our contact with the sacred, with Jesus Christ and with God the Father. And then the gospel lesson is actually quite a difficult lesson, but it really gets to the heart of discipleship, which again is all about what being received into the church and confirmation of your baptismal vows is all about, affirming the discipleship that we all have. The organ prelude that we'll start is a very short piece by Ned Rorem, an American composer who is 98 this year. And it's from a collection of works called A Quaker Reader. And it kind of plays on that idea of early American or even English readers, didactic writings. And this movement is called There is a Spirit That Delights to Do No Evil. And those are the dying words of a Quaker preacher, James Naylor. And Naylor was famous in his time. He was in the 17th century. And in 1656, he reenacted in the city of Bristol, England, the triumphal entry of Palm Sunday, and was actually brought before Parliament in London for heresy, because this was thought to be such a shocking thing for somebody to pretend or to act like Jesus Christ. And he lived out the remaining years of his life in kind of shame. And so to think about at the end of his life, him talking about there is a spirit that delights to do no evil, that he had this magnanimous way of forgiving all of those who had persecuted him when he was trying to really touch a deeper spirituality in folks. It's really quite a poetic thing. So Ned Rorem has this very simple melody that he uses through a couple of variations, very gentle and kind of that feeling of forgiveness. And then we'll come in singing a hymn that's actually a new text, a new hymn by Mary Louise Bringle. And we sing several of her texts. She's a really beautiful poet. And this is a text that is really great for confirmation. Living stones we raise a temple where the Spirit comes to dwell. This is a hymn that we sang several times connected to the building, the renovation project that we had a couple of years ago, thinking about how we use our building as a source of ministry, but then also thinking about that sort of double entendre of the church referring both to the building and to the people that come and worship there. So really thinking about that idea that we are building a church as we come together and as we accept new members in baptism and affirm the baptismal covenant of those who are going through confirmation. And we'll sing this with that really sturdy English tune by Perry called Rustington. So a really thrilling way to start the service. And at the offertory, we have kind of a highlight musically of the service. The bishop's wife, Susan Parker Weatherford, who is in the alto section of the cathedral choir, has given us an anthem in honor of Brian's ministry here to the people in East Tennessee. And it's a tune and a text that Brian is particularly fond of, Sweet Rivers, which is a 19th century American folk tune, folk hymn. And it's in a very atmospheric, expansive kind of a setting by the contemporary composer Reginald Unterseer. And it has this sort of wispy, atmospheric piano part. And then the choir comes in unison with the melody. The piano ends up gaining a little bit more momentum and having these patterns that posit 2 against 3. As the choir continues to sing. But it's a very gentle and relaxed musical setting of this text. And it has this beautiful idea, again, of pilgrimage through life, that we are always journeying on to be closer to Jesus Christ. So we hope that you will join us. Do note that we do expect a slightly larger crowd this week. And if you feel more comfortable coming at a socially distanced service, do know that the bishop will be preaching and celebrating at the 8 o'clock service, and there will be probably a little bit more room to space out. You're also always invited to join us on community television or on our YouTube channel. And if you want to be in a room full of people worshiping and singing some great music, we hope that you will come and join us here downtown at 10:30.